Hello dear students, welcome to Tejamaya YouTube channel. In this video I am going to start up the new chapter, that is ray optics. This is the first chapter in part B, second PUC physics subject. Without wasting time, I am going to start up with the concept. Now, ray optics and wave optics, both the chapters comes under a single topic called optics. Okay, so in ray optics as well as wave optics, we deal with light of different forms. Since this chapter deals with the light in both ray optics and wave optics, we deal with light. So if I ask you a question, that is, what is light? What is your answer? Usually, so you may tell that light is a form of energy. But I am going to give a different definition for it. So some of you might have studied about it or not. So let us learn it. Okay. So if you consider electromagnetic radiation, in it we have different types. So initially if I start with the electromagnetic radiation which is having more wavelengths. So we have radio waves, then we have microwaves, so then we have infrared radiation, again red, so like VIR. Okay, so this is nothing but the white light. So then we have UV, then X-rays, then gamma radiation, then cosmic rays. So I have arranged all electromagnetic radiations in their decreasing order of wavelength or increasing order of frequency or increasing order of energy. So if I consider their wavelengths, so the radio waves is having more wavelengths, and after that less wavelength, like that the wavelength is decreasing. So here our main aim is to understand what is light. So we usually call this range of electromagnetic radiation as light. So we call this range of electromagnetic radiation as light. So this electromagnetic radiation starts from the wavelength, that is 380 nanometer to somewhere around 780 nanometer. So this range of electromagnetic radiation is visible and it is called light radiation or just light. So what is light? Light is a electromagnetic radiation which is having wavelength or whose wavelength ranges from 380 nanometer to 780 nanometers. Is that clear? Now, if this light ray incident on a material which is having optical medium, okay, then what happens? So light may undergo reflection, or it may undergo reflection or polarization or total internal reflection or dispersion, diffraction. Okay, like this light can undergo many different phenomena. Okay, so now I am going to teach you one by one each and every concept which is very important for PU board examinations. So in that we have the reflection concept at the first. So I am going to start with the reflection concept. So here we have the concept, that is reflection. So if I consider a reflecting surface here, let me consider the reflecting surface. The best example is a plane mirror. Okay, plane mirror. So then I'll consider one more line which is perpendicular to this plane mirror or reflecting surface. Okay, so first we have the reflecting surface, that is this plane mirror, and then I am going to consider a imaginary perpendicular line. This is called normal. Okay, this perpendicular line is called normal. So let us consider a light ray which is moving in this direction. Okay, when this light ray incident on this material of which is reflecting, okay, so the light gets reflected. The light gets reflected. So this is called just reflection, we already know. But here what is important? We need to know the laws of reflection. So in that, the first one is laws of reflection. So to understand this, dear students, here we have incident light ray, and here we have reflected ray. This is incident ray, this is reflected ray. This incident ray, reflected ray, and normal drawn at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. They all lie in the same plane, means incident ray in this direction, reflected ray in this direction, and normal in this direction. You can't expect the light ray incident in this direction and reflect in this direction or in this direction or in this direction like that. Okay. So incident light ray, reflected light ray, and normal all lie in the same plane. That is the first law of reflection. Let me write here. The incident ray, reflected ray, and normal drawn at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. Okay, so the incident ray, reflected ray, and normal drawn at the point of incident, or you can write incidence also, incidence, all lie in the same plane. Okay, they will be in the same plane. Now we have one more law. So there are two laws for reflection. Second law, so if I consider the incident ray is making an angle I with normal, so that is called angle of incidence, and the reflected ray is making an angle R with the normal, that is called reflecting angle. This is called angle of incidence, this is called angle of reflection. To any surface, any reflecting surface, this angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. If angle of incidence is 10 degree, angle of reflection is also 10 degree. If angle of incidence is equal to 20 degree, angle of reflection is also 20 degree. If in case angle of incidence is 0 degree, angle of reflection is also 0 degree. But one thing you should remember, the angle of incidence and angle of reflection are measured with respect to the normal, not with the surfaces. Don't consider these two angles. Consider this angle. So this angle is equal to this angle. Okay. Now angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. It is applicable to all reflecting surfaces. Okay. So usually reflecting surface means we consider the mirror. Okay. Now one more thing you should remember. So the light ray which is moving in this direction, in the absence of mirror, it would have moved in this direction. But instead of moving in this direction, it has deviated by an angle. How much? Let us consider d. Okay, let us consider d. So what is the value of that deviation? So if you want to calculate, it is very simple. If I add angle of incidence, angle of reflection, angle of deviation, then angle of incidence plus angle of reflection and angle of deviation, that will be equal to 180 degree. We know that angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Then I can write I plus I r plus r. So I can write 2I plus d is equal to 180 degree. Then angle of deviation by reflection is given by 180 minus 2I. So this is the angle of deviation formula for reflection. I hope you have understood this. So next we are going to discuss about same convention and image formation by spherical surfaces. So in order to do that, you need to understand how does the spherical surfaces look like and how the image is formed by the spherical surfaces when light incident on it. Now I am going to consider a spherical surface here which is concave. Okay, which is concave. So this surface is concave surface, this surface is convex surface. So I am going to consider the concave surface of the mirror is reflecting and convex surface of the mirror is painted or it is not polished. Okay. So when light incident on the mirror this side, it will get reflected. So right here, this is called reflecting surface. So here, when light incident on the reflecting surface, images will be formed. The image distance or the position of image formed by the reflecting surface depends on where the object is placed. And if you want to measure the image distance and object distance, we have the formula. In the next class, I will be deriving it. Okay. Then, along with that, you need to know few basic things or few things that you need to know. So, one, this is reflecting surface and the surface which is available for reflection is called aperture. Okay, do remember that? That is called aperture. Surface which is available for reflection. Then the midpoint of the aperture is called pole. So where P is called pole. Okay. So if I consider the circular form of this curve, if you extend this like a circle, okay, it will, you can write or you can consider a midpoint to this circle. This is not the exact circle, okay, you can write exactly. So this is called the center of this curvature, represented by C. And between center of curvature and pole, there lies a point exactly at the midpoint, that is called focus. I will tell you why it is called focus. So let me erase this. Okay. Now, the line which is passing through the center of curvature, focus and pole is called principal axis. Principal axis, where C is called center of curvature F is called focus. Okay. If a parallel beam of light incident on the reflecting surface, the reflected light rays moves through this focus. So that's why this focus is considered here on the principal axis. This focus lies exactly midway between pole and center of curvature. Okay. Now, two more things that you need to know, that is focal length and radius of curvature. Okay. F is called focal length and R is called radius of curvature. Okay. The distance between focus and pole is called focal length. The distance between center of curvature and pole is called radius of curvature. Okay. Now, where the image is formed and where the object is placed, that matters. Okay. So, depending on the position of the object, the image formation also changes. So, you may get inverted image or erect image, enlarged image or diminished image, depending on where the object is placed. So, different cases of which will be explained in the future videos. As of now, I am going to explain you the sign convention. So, what is sign convention? And sign convention for what? So, sign convention is used for measuring object distance represented by U, image distance represented by V, then focal length F, radius of curvature R, or it may be virtual image or real image, virtual object or real object, and then different distances like this. Okay, so etc. Now, I am not going to write those points, but they are very important. Okay, so I will be explaining here. If you want, you can pause the video and write on them. First one, we consider the light ray which is moving from left to right. We can consider the light rays which are moving from left to right. Then, second point, always the distances are measured from the reference point P, that is called pole. Always the distances are measured from the reference point, this P, that is called pole. Okay. So third point, if you measure the distance of any point in the direction opposite to the incident light ray, this is incident ray. So if you measure distance from the pole opposite to incident ray, so that distance is considered negative. Next, if you measure a distance in the direction of incident ray, that distance is considered positive. Okay, distance opposite to incident ray from the pole, it is considered negative. Distance in the direction of incident ray is considered positive. Next we have the distance measured above the principal axis is considered positive, and the distance measured below the principal axis is considered negative. Okay. Then usually we consider this for measuring the height of the image and height of the object, height of the real image, height of the real object, and height of the virtual image and height of the virtual object. Okay. Now, it may be erect or inverted. Depending on that, we write the sign convention. Okay. Now, lastly, we have one more point. If you measure the distance of virtual image and virtual object, it may be virtual image or virtual object, then those distances are considered negative. Those distances are considered negative. Hope you have understood this. Initially we considered the light ray which is moving from left to right, which is moving towards the reflecting surface. If I measure a distance from the pole opposite to it is considered negative. In the direction of that incident light, positive, above positive, below negative. For virtual image and virtual object it is negative. So this is called sign. Okay dear students, now I am going to teach you the derivation. One of the most important derivations for 3 mark, that is relation between focal length and radius of curvature in case of reflection by a spherical surface. I am not going to give you the theory here, so I will be explaining here that theory you can write by your own. Like, consider a reflecting surface like this. Whose focal length is f and radius of curvature is r. Okay, so this is pole. So you can write in your own words that consider a reflecting surface whose focal length is f and radius of curvature is r, as shown in the figure, where P is pole. So let me consider a paraxial light ray. So do remember, what is paraxial light ray? Paraxial light ray is the ray which is moving very close to the principal axis. So this is principal axis. Okay. But if I write like this, it will be difficult for me to derive the relation between F and R. Let us consider paraxial light ray which is moving here in this direction, which is parallel to this one. So if you consider a perpendicular line here that reaches the principal axis at D. But for a paraxial light ray, D lies on P. If I write very close to it, D lies on P. So D and P are same points. Let us consider like that. But for our convenience, we have written at this particular distance. Now, let me write here. So when a light ray which is parallel to principal axis, incident and reflecting surface, it reflects and moves through focus like this. Okay, so let us consider this is the reflected light ray. Now, if I draw one normal to this particular point at this point, then that line passes through center of curvature. Okay. So let us consider this is theta. If this is theta, this is the angle of incidence, that is theta, then this should be a straight line. Just a minute. So if this is theta, this is also theta. Why? Because alternate angles. Now, if this is theta, angle of incidence is theta, angle of reflection is also theta. Why? Because angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Therefore, this will be 2 theta because this angle and this angle are alternate angles. So here we have 2 theta, here also 2 theta. Alternate angles. Okay, can you consider like that? Now, let me consider this point is N. Okay, or M. N, M, whichever you want. Okay, now, if I consider this triangle from triangle CND, what is tan theta? tan theta is equal to opposite by adjacent. Here opposite is ND by adjacent CD. Okay. Then what is tan 2 theta from the triangle FDN or triangle NFD? NFD. So tan 2 theta is equal to opposite by adjacent. So ND divided by adjacent is FD. Okay. Now for a paraxial light ray, this angle theta and 2 theta will be very small. So we consider small angle approximation, means here theta becomes ND by CD, because tan theta will be theta. What is tan 0? 0. What is tan 0.1? 0.1 only. So whatever the value of theta, tan theta is also similar to it. So we consider small angle approximation as tan theta is equal to theta, and one more thing is that sin theta is also equal to theta for small angle approximation. So tan 2 theta is equal to 2 theta ND by FD. Here 2 theta is equal to ND by FD. What is theta? Theta is this. So let me substitute it here. So 2 into theta value is ND by CD is equal to ND by FD. So here ND will cancel out. ND will cancel out. Let me write here. This will come this side. So 2 into 1 by CD is equal to 1 by FD. Okay. So 2 into 1 by CD. What is CD here? Radius of curvature. But according to same convention, if the distance is measured from P to C, that will be opposite to incident light ray. So that is considered negative. So minus R distance is equal to 1 divided by FD. So distance is measured from 4 according to same convention, that is also negative. So minus F. Okay. So minus will cancel out, we will get. So what is that? 2 divided by R is equal to 1 by F, or F is equal to R by 2. So this is a small derivation, very important for 3 marks from ray optics. In the next video, I am going to derive the expression for mirror equation. That is very important. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Hope you have understood this.